What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to a brand new episode of The Blade. The Blade podcast is a podcast about video production, post-production, and marketing. I am your host, Lungile Maindi. I'm a filmmaker and independent producer based in Johannesburg. So in today's episode, I'm really excited. Today we're going to be talking about online communities that film producers should join or need to join or follow. So if you're a film producer and you're looking for places where you to get like great resources in order to up your game, to upskill yourself about the film business, production, video production business, these are the platforms that you need to check out, okay? The first platform that you guys definitely need to check out is a podcast called The Producer's Guide. So The Producer's Guide is a podcast hosted by a guy called Todd Garner. He's a Hollywood film producer, and he has a podcast where he talks to filmmakers, actors, he talks to producers, directors, like freaking people that work at studios, studio executives, a lot of people that work in the film and TV industry, and he talks to them about how did they start, what do they think of the business, where do they think it's going, and there's so many gems in terms of like what producers need to do in order to get a leg up in the industry. Like some of the producers are really big producers, some are really like young, up and coming, some are actors that are super famous. Like this podcast is packed with so much tips and like life stories in terms of how people navigate their careers in the film industry. I've learned so much, dude. I can't even name how many things I've learned. So yeah, check out The Producer's Guide podcast. It's really great. Like I've listened to almost all the podcast episodes. If there's anything that you listen to me today, do this one. Check out The Producer's Guide podcast by Todd Garner. You're gonna love it. Okay, cool. So the next online platform that you guys should know about is The Future podcast. So if you don't know what The Future is, it's an online education platform. They have a YouTube channel where they talk about marketing, how to build an agency, how to survive as a freelancer. So they have the videos online, but they also have a podcast. I think the podcast is probably just as good as a video YouTube channel. But the podcast is great because it's something that you can listen to when you're cleaning, walking, jogging, or whatever you're doing, anything passive. And they have a lot of interviews from a lot of people that work in the film industry, the marketing industry, from agency founders, creatives, freelancers, people that are creative entrepreneurs and how they make money, how they started, what their philosophies are. Like I've learned so much from that podcast, and I think it's really worth checking out. It might not be specifically tailored to film, but there's a lot of business things that you can learn, business tips and strategies that you can apply in your own life to get ahead as a film producer, as a filmmaker, as a freelancer. There's so many things that you can learn, even if you're not in the industry and you're a creative entrepreneur who wants to learn. Like, dude, there's so much stuff you can learn there. So check out The Future podcast. It's on all these different podcast platforms, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, you name them. There's too many to name. I'm not going to name all of them. But it's a really great platform to check out, guys. I really think it's worth it. The next online platform, oh my God, I forgot to mention this, is the Indie Film Hustle podcast. So if you're a thoroughbred filmmaker, you really want to check out this podcast. So the Indie Film podcast is a online platform. It's a podcast hosted by Alex Ferrari. He is like the biggest champion of independent filmmaking. He supports filmmakers, interviews filmmakers, young, upcoming, and experienced filmmakers on how they make their movies. Talks about things from writing process to shooting to editing to post to marketing to distribution. Like anything you want to learn about filmmaking, check out the Indie Film Hustle podcast. It's like really great. It's on YouTube and all the other different platforms. Like I've binged so much of this podcast. I still need to listen to more episodes, but I think it's really great. If you're a filmmaker and a freelancer and you want to learn more about the film business, it's a really worthwhile podcast to check out. The next online platform I'm going to be talking about is the Just Shoot It podcast. So the Just Shoot It podcast It's a podcast for filmmakers that are working in the film industry, commercial industry. There's a lot of talks with young up-and-coming filmmakers, producers, directors that direct commercials, that go on pitches. Some of them direct TV shows. There's so many things you can learn from them. I love how they're different because it's like aspiring people, young people on the come up. It's like they share a lot of philosophies and tips in terms of directing, producing. Especially, I like the fact that it's not just filmmaking and movies. It's filmmaking, movies, commercials, and people that make branded content too. So there's a lot of cool interviews, a lot of discussions. It's really worth checking out also. The next online platform I'm going to be telling you guys about is Dear Producer. So if you're a producer, independent producer, Dear Producer is the platform for you. So basically what Dear Producer is a platform where independent producers come together, they network. There's like blogs, there is like, it's basically a blog, but they also have videos, and they talk about how people get financing for their movies. There's case studies in terms of like making movies, marketing, distribution. They share a lot of resources in terms of where the industry is going, how to work with streamers, how to start, how to get crew. It's like a really producer-centric platform that is worth checking out. So check out Dear Producer. They have a website, they have a blog, they have a newsletter, and they have a whole bunch of videos on Vimeo. The next platform I'm going to be talking about is the Sundance Institute. We all know the Sundance Film Festival, but the Sundance Institute is amazing. Like, they have an online platform where they have a lot of masterclasses. They have masterclasses from like really experienced people. They have online classes and courses you can take and pay for. But I've checked out most of the masterclasses from writing television episodes, writing TV shows, directing TV shows. They like interview so many great people. They talk up to producers in terms of like legal stuff, marketing, distribution. One of my favorite talks was with a film director and one of the creators from Homeland, the TV show, the spy TV show starring Claire Danes. There was a director called Leslie Linklater, and she was talking about all the prep that she does before she directs a TV show. There's so much cool masterclasses. They're long, they're like 3 hours, but dude, it's free education, and it's a chance for you to level up. They sometimes share resources also, so it's really worth checking out. I love that it's free, and they also have paid courses also. The last and final platform that I'm going to be telling you guys about is Seed and Spark. So Seed and Spark is a crowdfunding platform. Obviously, if you're trying to make a movie and you know trying to raise funds, you can use their platform. What's cool about them, they have the platform, and then they also have a distribution company. They also share a lot of tips and videos. They have these creative sustainability videos that they've made throughout the pandemic. They talk to filmmakers, producers, writers. They talk to people that are super experienced. One of the greatest videos they made were with Mark Duplass. So he was there talking about his process and what independent creators can do in order to up their skills, how to get into the industry. There's so much good stuff. Like, I like them because they're a bit different. They're more veered towards filmmakers and creatives that really want to create work and stand out and get paid for their work and be sustainable. So they're really great and worth checking out. So if you like any of these platforms, let me know in the comments below. If you want to know other platforms that I should have mentioned, drop comments below, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button and the bell button so you can be notified every time I drop a new video. I really like this podcast. I appreciate it. I see some people are watching or listening to it. Now, obviously, I'm doing video and audio, so if you want to watch the podcast and look at me as I talk, you can check out my channel, Iron Heart Films, or you can listen to the podcast and just look for the Blade Podcast. So I really like making this podcast, guys. Hope you guys enjoy it. If you want me to talk about different topics, let me know below. I would love to discuss them. I'll talk about anything that you want me to talk about, if I can, and if I have some knowledge. Until next time, guys, please keep safe, keep creating, and stay creative.